Murder Drones is a very unusual series, and its different dubs contain many interesting things such as uncensored swear words, adult jokes, and so on. I watched this show in 10 plus various languages. That includes Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, German, Ukrainian, Turkish, Japanese, French, and so on. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, do you remember the drone named Doll? In the original, she speaks Russian with some accent.
Мертвые. Я смотрела, как они умирали.
However, in Russian, she speaks English.
Dead. I watched them die.
Well, I liked how they came up with a way to individualize Doll, but that wasn't the case with every dub. The Russian phrases were completely removed in Korean and Hungarian, so she speaks the language everyone else speaks in these versions.
Halottak. A szemem előtt ölték meg őket.
죽었어. 내 눈앞에서.
The Turkish dub was the best in this regard. The Turkish hired a native Russian speaker, so Doll speaks without a foreign accent, unlike in the American dub.
Мертвые. Я смотрела, как они умирали.
Now let's talk about another interesting thing. The Germans added many references to religion and the Bible. You should remember that the world of worker drones was separated from the outside world by the doors. In German, these are not doors, but gates. And it sounds like it's the gateway to heaven.
Hide under the ice behind 3 stupid doors?
Sie haben sich hinter 3 Toren unterm Eis verschanzt.
Well, here's another detail. In almost all languages, the episode titles were translated the same way as in the original, except in German. They have completely different titles. For example, the pilot is called Dark Angel in German. The second episode in German is called Angel or Devil, but in English it's called Heartbeat. So yeah, they added a lot of such references. Even Uzi calls the murder drone a dark angel.
I'm sneaking to the murder drone lair tonight.
Ich schleiche mich heute Nacht in das Lager der dunklen Engel und hol das...
So what do you think of all this? Speaking about Uzi, do you remember her catchphrase?
Bite me!
It also sounds different in other languages. For example, in German, she says lick me.
Leck mich!
But the most interesting is the Spanish version. These guys don't seem to know what censorship is. Bite me was translated as some Spanish equivalent of the F word. I scroll to the internet and people say this word is actually swearing. Even though it's not that strong swearing in Spain, it is in some Latin countries as far as I can tell. The thing is that in the American version of the show, the swearings are censored, but in this version, they're not. Now, in another scene, there are some other swear words.
Suck on that, Dad! A tu puta casa, papá!
This phrase seems to be harsher than the previous one. Native Spanish speakers, please clarify this for us. Also, the show parodied the S.C. Johnson Company and its product Windex, a window cleaning spray.
Yeah, we were mistreated in the name of Windex.
However, this was different in other dubs. For example, in the Spanish version, the Windex cleaner was replaced with Mr. Muscle, which is a British brand of the same kind.
Sí, nos explotaban para ser Mr. Músculo.
This reference was missed in the Portuguese and some other versions. Now let's move on to another intriguing topic, sexual subtext. In the original, there are such kind of jokes and hints. However, in the other versions, there are even more such hints, and they're less censored. For example, in this scene in the Ukrainian dub.
I'm open to new things, I guess.
We are never talking about this.
Таке у мене вперше.
Тільки ляпни комусь слово про це.
The Germans have gone further than others in this regard and openly talk about adult relationships.
Sneaking out to make out with my boyfriend that I definitely have?
Ich will nur mit meinem definitiv existierenden Freund rummachen.
Now, do you remember the orange drone? That's Uzi's classmate. In the Japanese dub, his voice sounds pretty weird and mature. It doesn't seem appropriate.
Not the vibe.
Also, sometimes there are extreme problems with lip syncing. For example, in this scene.
外にあるのは死体。壁みたいなやつ。ここにはボタンがある。
It looks like the audio isn't even from this show. What else comes to my mind is this scene with B.
Yo, we got a worker out there I kinda wanna practice balloon animal shapes with.
In many versions, balloon animals were replaced with origami, which also sounds interesting.
Da draußen ist so ein Arbeiterschrotthaufen, an dem ich meine Origami-Künste austesten will.
However, in the Ukrainian dub, V talks about a new doll.
Oh, у нас тут робітник, а я якраз хотіла собі нову ляльку.
Perhaps it was a joke about sadistic games, but I'm not sure. Now I'd like to mention some translation mistakes. At the end of the third episode, Ant says he can't join Uzi and go outside because the sun will kill him.
I'd join you if the sun didn't kill me.
However, in Ukrainian, he just says that the sun is hot.
Я приєднався, якби сонце не смалило.
In this version, it sounds like Anne can't go outside because the sun is too hot and could give him sunstroke or something, not to kill him. In addition, one more scene in the Ukrainian dub was mistranslated. It happens at the beginning of the first episode.
That's never gonna end up problematic.
But in Ukrainian, he says the opposite.
Це точно гарно не скінчиться.
I also noticed that some classic phrases were adapted differently to suit the technological setting of the show. So in this scene, Uzi says Robo Jesus, but in some versions, Jesus was replaced by other phrases.
Robo Jesus.
О боже, механічний. Хайліка машина.
The best version of this phrase was in Russian. It's hard to explain, but they mixed a Russian swear word and the word robot. Earlier, I pointed out some mistakes in the Ukrainian version, but there are several scenes in which the Ukrainians did it really well. For example, at the end of the pilot episode, Uzi rejects the friendship with Anne because he killed many people. However, the Ukrainians changed this phrase.
Thanks for showing me the ropes.
Nuh-uh, no bonding thing. You just killed a bunch of people, idiot.
Дядя Пача подала приклад.
Ні, ніякої дружби. Ти тільки що вбив купу роботів, ідіоте.
This sounds much more logical. A little later, Anne joins Uzi, explaining that Jay was mean to him.
Jay, you're sometimes kind of mean to me, and I wish you weren't.
In Ukrainian, this scene was translated in a specific way.
Джей, ти ставишся до мене як до лайна, і це мене не влаштовує.
I think this version sounds harsher, but at the same time better. Jay is not just mean to Anne, but she really treats him terribly. What else comes to my mind is Uzi's special vocabulary. She calls her weapon like this.
Thick as hell, railgun?
But the gun's name is changed a few times in the German dub.
Faschissengeile Railgun. Super coole Railgun.
Now, one detail in Russian and Ukrainian ruins Uzi's character. As you may have noticed, Uzi sometimes breaks the fourth wall by talking about storytelling. In one scene, she mentions inciting incident, a term often used in storytelling. In Russian and Ukrainian, this was missed.
It's like we're waiting for an inciting incident.
Как будто мы только и ждем, когда нас всех грохнут. Ми ніби очікуємо на неминучий кінець.
Overall, each version has many exciting and memorable changes that make it unique. I can't say which dub was the best or the worst. I probably liked the German and Spanish dubs because of the different references. What language did you watch Murder Drones in? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more content about Murder Drones dubs. See ya!